I gotta sit up here. Headroom, kids. A lot of you in the YouTube world don't have proper headroom, and it drives me crazy. This is Anytime with Ken and Alden. I'm Ken, that's Alden.
I am Alden. One of us has seen Superman. The other hasn't. Neither of us is going to be the mayor of New York City, but we'll be talking about both of those things today, as well as Ken's fixation on headroom, which you're right to have. You are right. It does bother me when it's like this, or like
it should be.
Yeah.
This is the proper headroom. This is, and I'm just too loaded and I can't fix it.
Yeah. Am I okay? This feels right.
You're great. You're great.
This feels like good headroom.
My headroom and headphones, though I've given up the headphones one. Headroom is my version of you getting mad at people holding the little mics. Where's my mic?
They're literally out here like this to like legends. They'll be like Denzel Washington, Julianne Moore, Michelle Pfeiffer. It drives me nuts.
Here's my base station.
Okay, I like that.
These are great mics, by the way. They're not sponsored. I used to be sponsored by them, not anymore. Rode mics, spectacular for ASMR videos, but
yeah.
Anyways, we're already off the rails. We're also a little late because I was giving you off-air talking points about the Superman picture that I can't really talk about.
It's true. It's true. I do feel a little bad because we teased Superman reaction, but it's okay because I've been down this road before. You've been down this road before. We've both seen big films early. There is protected language. There are things that we can ask and talk about that are not reviewing the movie. You are not getting a review of the movie. I'm saying that explicitly. We're not reviewing Superman. I haven't seen it. Ken is embargoed until sometime early next week.
I mean, I don't know. Because I don't know.
Not that it really is a concern to you. You're not a film critic. You're not publishing on a blog. But you did get to see it. We'll discuss that. But first and foremost, hello to everybody in the chat. Cameron Stewart, Michael McCarcel, Jared Bachman Stubbs, Christopher Watts is here. The Boys. That's us. Neither of us watched The Boys. If you were just excited about The Boys. No, I know what you were saying.
Yeah, I didn't. And I don't know why. Well, I know why I don't watch things, but
I know why I don't watch The Boys. Okay. It's because I read comics, Ken, and I have been down this road now for, I think I started reading comics when I was about 5. So that's 24 years of being a pretty decently regular reader. Okay. And I've seen and read and unpacked every iteration of the, like, what if we did a commentary on like what it would actually be like? And it's like, no, I got it. Like I understand that we need to, always do this whole superheroes. Like, let's do a commentary. Like, we've already done that. We have Watchmen. We have The Dark Knight Returns. We have Incredibles. People forget that the Incredibles, we have Mystery Men. From Disney,
we have
Pixar,
Mystery Men.
Yeah, we do have Mystery Men as well. You're not
Still
wrong.
One of the greatest superhero pictures of all time for me.
Mystery Men is unironically good.
Mystery Man is number 1. All others are 2 or lower. That's a reference.
Jared's ranting about The Boys in the chat. I'm gonna ignore him because I say this with no like meanness or people that love it. I don't care enough to like get into the nitty gritty of their adaptation. I'm talking about what I know of why it exists and like what the writer does in the books. I think deconstructionist stuff has its place, but like we got into this mode where everything was trying to be smarter than the work became like the thing in the 90s and 2000s. I mean, this is how it is with kind of like Legends, Thrawn, and Star Wars, right? Like it's the 90s kids or teens or even early 20s. They looked back on Star Wars and thought, okay, but what if there was a bad guy who you didn't know about, who was like much smarter and didn't use the magic and was immune to the magic?
Immune.
And it's like,
we
got it, man. We got it.
It doesn't move your needle. Look, it's all about moving your needles. We all like to move our needles. I have our needles moved.
Everybody be moving their needles. Who up moving they needle? Nice and
this is a serious political talk show.
Look, we'll talk about someone that moved the needle, and that's Mamdani, and we'll talk about that soon. But Ken, how are you? Because it's I was riding the high of our main topic, which we'll get to earlier this week. Then today, the Supreme Court decided that we have 50 micronations instead of one nation, because I guess that's what we're doing here. It's like the Balkan states of America. It's just like
states' rights, right?
Yeah, we're gonna end up down that shithole. You know, uber religious Christo-fascists can ostracize LGBTQ kids by negating their work and their experiences and material that speaks to them. Now legally, it took a sharp turn into like, oh yeah, I remember what country we're in. But that's why we need the good story. So again, how are you?
I'm good. And as far as that stuff, yeah, I saw that stuff this morning too, and not good. But I also wouldn't say any of it's surprising. But what happened in New York and what could still happen in New York, we're not across the finish line, is not just surprising. It's maybe more important. Right now, it's all important. You know what I mean? But when a needle's moved, Alden, I think you got to run with that, because eventually the other things can break or crack or be changed. Maybe. I don't know. So it's a downer of a morning, but I still think it's a win of a week for that stuff. As far as me, same thing. Personally.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm okay. I stare out my window at night, just wondering how this was my life, how this is my life. But there's comfort in knowing.
A lot of pondering.
I've been doing a lot of but not negative, just well, this is it. And this is my only, well, not only, but I'll try to make my only old man advice to you and Eli and the Jared, the Dark Jedi's, even Mike Carcel. Dave McKay's in another country. I don't know the rules over there. Cameron Stewart. The it goes fast thing is not understood until it does. And I'm still young. My folks are 75, 76, and they got the same glaze in their eyes as what the hell? Well, I wouldn't say a swear word, but what the heck happened? And I'm having that right now, where I'm like, this is kind of locked in. I failed at a lot of things. I did a lot of things wrong, and you can't change that. And so you're here, and this is it. This is your life. This is it. Feet on the ground. This is where we are. We can only go forward, and that's why I try to tell all you youngins, work harder, work more than you play, because you'll have time to play later. Get your career settled, make bold choices. All those things I should have done. This started this week. I had our buddy Ken Plume digitized all of my entire Groundlings career is on DVD.
Oh wow!
And he
available for purchase.
I might be throwing some up on my Patreon page. You ought to see Kristen Wiig and Mikey Day and me in a sketch in 2002.
Yes,
it'll be on there. But I think, that was 2002 was the end of my run, and that is almost 25 years ago. And so when you have, that was my future and it's now my past, that really set me, not just depression, Alden, but just in this we're here. This is it. This is happening.
You're in the future. The future is the present. You reminded me, I'm a weirdo that keeps a lot of iPhone notes, as I've established on this show. I keep them for the show. I have a note that's just ideas, quotes, scents, different things. Like if I have right here a quote, a list, and the name of a perfume just next to each other. They have nothing to do with each other. It's just like thought starters, things where I'm like, oh, that smelled good. I have to remember what that is.
Yeah.
And you perfectly led into this quote here that I have from Joachim Trier, the director of the film Worst Person in the World, where he said, "We can only understand our life backward, but we're forced to live it forward." And I think that's the confusion we all feel, is that we always learn too late. We go through things that are completely inexplicable and mysterious, and then years later we realize.
Yeah.
And it's true. You are burdened to acquire puzzle pieces and then not see it until it happens. And it's like, incredibly frustrating.
Yeah. And I want to be clear. I am young, man. I am still young. My dad will tell you, you're still young. And I would tell you, you're still young, but it does make the most of it. Anyways, that's me. How are you?
Similar, not in the sense of the specifics, and obviously we're different ages, and I do not do sketch comedy, so it's but the parallels emotionally are there. Lots of pondering, lots of standing around with my hands clasped behind my back, like I'm overlooking my fleet.
Yes,
like
that's exactly, dude. That's exactly how I stare at my backyard.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, because my backyard, like, there's a step down into the yard.
Yeah.
And where the dog goes and everything. So I look out over him like I'm looking out at like everything the light touches is my kingdom. And it's just it's like a mixture of just like depression, just trying to hold on to hope of things like Mamdani, and like trying to sit in like there is forward momentum, but also just like the job market is such ass right now. Nothing's changing. There's never enough money. I hate that I live a life where like the first thing I do when I wake up is think about like, not I'm excited to take on the day, but like what kinds of stuff do I have to deal with, or like what you know, how am I going to get around it, or how am I going to get through it, like, which is not a unique experience, obviously,
right?
Especially not for my age bracket. It's just full of depressed people. But it's also like, I wish, and you can't have this, and I'm sure you've thought this too, it ties in with what you just said. I wish sometimes that I had still, not like, I'm not naive enough to be like, I wish that I knew then what I know now, because like everyone has that. But I specifically wish that I had the like reserves, like the ideas reserves that I had, I think, when I was a little bit younger, where it's like now I almost find myself thinking of like ideas based on not ease, but sort of like, all right, I got to work with these tools or whatever, where I used to have ideas and think, okay, now I can go, I'll go get whatever I need for this. It's like I feel like I'm reverse engineering things now. And it's like, it reminds me of something that Jim Downey said in the Lorne book, where he said, like, when you first get here being the show, you have a lifetime's worth of ideas. He goes, and then you get to your second year and you have a summer's worth. And it's like, I feel like I'm in that, like, I miss having the lifetime, and now I have the summer. But I'm also too young to have these thoughts. And I had him,
you know, I had him that age too. And that's so funny. When I hit my Groundlings Advanced class, I had an entire lifetime of sketches. And the second week, they were all gone, and I had to come up with everything new.
You're like, these are garbage.
Well, it was just like you threw them up on stage, and then the director would be like, maybe, I don't know, and that was it. It was done. All of your writing, everything was done. But no, also this is part of the theme of the week, because I want to shout out Kate Huseby and their new film that's coming out. We were trying to figure out how you all can see it. They're working on that. But Cade and Robert Butler III, a lot of you might know RB3 from the Schmoes World, Schmoedown World, and other things. They have been, for the last 2 years, working on a picture called Quarter Life Crisis. Cade shot it as they were about to turn 25. And it's like the 25-day lead up to the birthday. And it's a very real thing, right? I went through a quarter life crisis. John Mayer released an entire album, as I keep saying about it. It was a wonderful, heartfelt picture. I'm in it. I play a Jordan Peterson parody that I think was, quite frankly, my work was too good, and the crowd did not know what to do with me, including after, because it's a quasi documentary where Kate actually films with real people and experts, and then some people playing parts, me, Jay Washington, some others, and there's some really funny scenes. But I remember thinking, this is some of my best work. Oh my God. And the crowd did not react. And then afterwards they didn't talk to me, because they're like, if that guy's real, we don't want to talk to that guy.
Did you do a voice?
A little bit, little just affect, but like, you know, it was great. Anyways, but that got me thinking about it too, because it's easy to pat you on the head. Alden would be like, oh, what are you turning 30? Oh, Cade, what are you turning 25? It's easy to do that. But I don't like to play that game, because all the numbers are real. All the advancement of years are real. And we deal with them along the way. So it's on my mind this week. You asked. That's why.
No, for sure. I completely relate to that. I think I had my first crisis when I was like 15. Then I had another crisis definitely around 20-ish. And then had a crisis around 24. I'm in a crisis right now. They don't end. You just sort of like get better at them, I think, as you go on.
Maybe.
Or
you peak
sometimes. Yeah, who knows? But it's like, I worry sometimes about like I'm gonna be 30, and it's like, if for some reason I just got like, you know, a lightning bolt just came down and just removed the Alden Diaz problem from this earth entirely. It's like there would be like nothing to show for it except this stuff. There would be absolutely nothing to show for it. And that freaks me out. I've been thinking about my mortality for way too long, and it just gets more like they say, like, you know that you're really an adult when you know someone who's married, when you know someone that's had a kid, and when you know someone who's dead
or divorced. Yeah.
And when I checked all those, do I know any divorced? Yeah, I do. I do know divorced people. So it's like, all of that just like, Jesus, like it comes at you so fast. And then I'm here like, what am I? I'm playing Mass Effect 2 for the 20th time. Like, I mean,
look, no, that's why I like talking about it. It's how they made a great joke. Another week, another time for Ken to remind us all of our mortality. I think about it far too much, but yeah, I think I like talking about it because it's important to work through it there. But that's been kind of weak. I know you've been kind of going through it lately, which affects clearly how we talk about the world and how we see, which is why I think there was so much correct grasping at the lightning bolt of hope that was shooting across the sky in New York this week. And then you wake up to some of the bad news today, and it's like, you're back at the window, hands clasped behind your back. But that's okay. We can talk about it.
Yeah, it's also why I've attached so much of my emotional well-being onto the prospects of Superman and Fantastic Four, I should also note, which is just 2 weeks after another super hope core idealized world. We get through it together type thing in a golden sort of. That's the thing about Metropolis and about this like 60s world they're going to as well, is that like you wish you lived in them. Whereas like with Batman, you don't want to be there. You just want to see him fix it. But with Metropolis, you're like, I could live in Metropolis. It's always bright. Like it looks happy. Right. You've seen Superman. And again, stressing on video, clearly not a review. And technically it's in social media. There's not really a social reaction. This is just me carefully asking Ken things that he might be able to answer, not about the film. I will start this by saying, we all know, but in case there's any new people watching, you are I would describe it as a casual sort of like, you can take them or leave them superhero guy, case by case. You sometimes you'll come around and be like, oh, I really like that. Like you're on the record saying you really like Black Widow, you really like Black Panther, you like The Dark Knight. So it's like you've got a pretty like a sizable roster of ones that you like, but there's also ones that you're like, I don't need to see that, or I'll see it once.
Pulled off of things,
So you come into this, it's a new universe, it's a reboot. It's not connected to Chris Reeves, it's not connected to Brandon Routh, it's not connected to television. This is, for all intents and purposes, movie one of a new thing. What is your relationship though specifically to Superman? Because that's one of the other movies of the Star Wars kid generation, because it's the year after, I believe, almost exactly a year after, like next spring.
My relationship to it was, saw most of them in the theater. Only remember the moment the what Superman 3 with Richard Pryor and the lady gets turned into a robot. Scared me. I was one of those kids that got scared by that. Other than that, I didn't remember it. I didn't take to it. I didn't take to superheroes. I didn't read the comics. I read G.I. Joe, read Transformers, all the classic toy books. And then as I got older, I was one of the people. I think there's early Schmoes episodes where I probably would say this too. And I would do it respectfully because Mark Riley would be in the room and Superman's his life, man. Where to me, Superman was a little boring, a little like, how can he be defeated? I had that take, which I think is a shitty take. I try not to be shitty about it, but he didn't move the needle. We're back to moving needles. I was one who I was in theater for Burton's Batman. Love that. I don't remember it. As time went on, I didn't remember the camp. I remembered what I thought was the dark and gritty. So Nolan stuff comes out, and I was pulled in by Nolan's. I used to have that mindset, and by the way, I still think they're solid. Dark Knight.
Oh, they're very good. They're
great. Whatever you want to talk about the ending and everything, cool. But like I very enjoyed them because of how real it was, right? But so that carried over Superman. And I talked about this blathering. I think Jared actually called in for this. I think we need this now more. I have no skin in the Snyder conversation. I didn't really see them, and I'm one of those people that like. I don't want to fling things at Zack Snyder that should be flung at his fans, but I just don't know. I don't care either way. Like you said earlier, like I don't get in the weeds of it. But I went in with a lot of hope and heart for this one, which I think is the right way to approach this film.
I agree with you about what we need right now. I mean, I've talked about it a bunch in different places, including this show, of just like, it could not be arriving at a more perfect time, and Fantastic Four. Just like,
yeah.
And Kevin Smith actually articulated this really well, where he's like, you can track where we're at based on who is at the forefront of DC, whether it's Batman or whether it's Superman. And it's like, when things are good, Batman tends to be at the forefront because it's a fantasy about how you'd handle it if things were bad. It's a fantasy about mental health. It's a fantasy about not vengeance, although it verges on that, but sort of just like, what if I drove myself to fix every problem within my own means? But then, you know, and it's easier when things are good, sort of like to dip your toe into that. But then when you get things that are so bad, and like you're looking at when Donner Superman came around in the 70s, and then now this one coming around now, it's like, this is and it's a not a power fantasy, but an altruism fantasy. Like, that's what's so great about Superman, is that he and it'll tie into what we're talking about with Mamdani, of like, what if there was an approach that was just like indiscriminately based in helping, and not, you know, asking, well, who does it benefit? Like, well, we need to go through the proper channels, or, well, if we help this country, then we're going to piss off this country. Well, did you get clearance to feed those kids? Like, well, we need to limit the amount of benches that the homeless are using. Like, what if we eliminated all of that? And if it was an immigrant that was doing it, and if it was someone that we didn't understand, and what if his main enemy was a narcissistic billionaire who exploited people? Like, there's all these things that just make it so right. And and I agree. So again, not reviewing the movie, because we can't. Press screenings are interesting in that most of the time they are ass. Complete and utter ass, in my experience. You have a lot of experience with this. I have some experience with this. I saw Rise of Skywalker 3 days before it came out at a press screening. I saw Avengers Endgame a few days before it came out at a press screening. I was that period of like 2018 to like 2020. I saw a lot of stuff early, and the Miami crowd sucked. Somebody ordered a cappuccino or something, like an espresso, during Avengers Endgame. Like, they were like sitting like a seat away from me. It was one of those fancy theaters and everything. I know, I was just like, this guy, like, I wanted to murder someone. And like, a lot of the times it's a impress me vibe. And you know, not to get into a whole tangent about the way people review things, because that's their right, but I think it's way healthier if you have to put math into it, to like, or even just to quantify a feeling. Like, I go in and I have everything at 100. I want to love it. And then like we can go down from 100. Some people go in at 0 and they say, earn my love. And like, I think the press screenings are full of people that go in at 0, cross their arms and say, earn my love, make me uncross my arms. And like, and that's so, it's not true for everybody, of course, caveats. No. But there is a dance monkey dance element to that is so palpable sometimes. And then you end up with like scenes that, again, nobody has to clap, but like scenes that are so clearly meant for joy. You have people either scribbling or like, you know, checking their phone, or arms crossed, or they have a foot out the door. So what can you say about the energy of this in terms of it being LA critics and media?
It was smaller. We went to the one that was smaller, including a smaller theater. So the energy wasn't as palpable, you know, in the ones I've been in the past. You know, I'll say this, the one, you know, and I do think you're right. I think there's the start at 100 or started to 0. And sometimes you don't know that you're one of the start at the 0 people. Because I've been at press screenings with a lot of folks who are excited, and then the movie ends and they're not, which, again, fair. And it's their job. And every movie has, this movie has some things I think, you know, you should look at critically. But, yeah, but yeah, I don't even, you know what I mean when I'm saying I don't even think they think. They're like, no, I'm in this industry because I love movies. Anyways, prove it to me. And that wasn't super present here, but it was quiet for a bit, and I had that in the back of my head. I was like, oh no, like it's real quiet right now. But then everyone started reacting and had what I think was a good time. You know, and this is why you should go see it. You know. Why James Gunn will probably sneak into the back of a theater with a hat and a wig and try to watch it, you know, with a crowd. It's always better. That's always better. But the only thing is, you know, I have my anxieties to go in crowds, so of movie theater crowds, not shutting up or paying attention. But the vibe was good. The vibe was good.
That's good. I'll try to think other questions that I can ask you that are not review questions. How did you, given the baseline that we established, feel coming out of it just as a person? Like, how did you feel as somebody that likes action, that likes sci-fi, comedy?
I want to spend time with these people. That's how I feel. I want to spend time with these people. And a lot of the themes that are just inherent in Superman when done this way. And again, not a shot across the bow at Zack Snyder, but when they're done this way, the themes are very present. The themes are very direct. That's the thing you and I talk about. Yeah, get it. And Andor is so not subtle that you all think it's the most subtle thing. Whereas the Bad Batch is way more political than Andor at times. And you have to kind of understand that and be there for it. And this is a super political movie, I think, at times. This is a very hopeful movie overall. And so when you're walking away, I felt I understood and really met Superman where he was at. And that's a good feeling walking away.
Other question that I have for you that, again, I think is again, we're avoiding specifics. We're avoiding getting into review territory. As a dog lover, how did you feel?
Don't even start with me. Don't even start with me. I might cry.
Okay, that's all I need to hear.
I'm currently without my doggy.
That's a safe answer.
I'm currently without my doggy. One day again, I'll be reunited with my doggy. I will start crying.
Okay, so I can safely assume that maybe you have a favorite character, and maybe it's a certain little guy.
I do, but I won't tell you.
Okay, all right, interesting. All right, these are all things that I will be poking around off air. Tully has a question that you probably can't get too much into, but just vibes based. James Gunn of it all, obviously Guardians 1, 2, 3, super Slither.
One of my favorites, I'll tell you, one of my favorite songs of all time from Noah and the Whale is In the Picture. The soundtrack is solid.
That's a safe thing to say as well. That's a safe thing. And he's good about uploading his movie soundtracks into Spotify playlists, so I'm sure it will get more popular now. Let's see here. Let's see. Are you finding yourself as a casual superhero person? Like, would you buy a ticket for Superman 2 or for the next character in this world? All right. I think that's about as far as we can push this in terms of like reacting to things.
Yeah. I was never in before. I like the first Wonder Woman. I don't dislike the second Wonder Woman as much as other people, but I also understand everything in it that people don't like. But I still never got pulled into the world, because that's the thing. I do like the Marvel world. I just, I didn't miss a lot. I saw pretty much every one after like 2010 on, right? I was pulled into it until I just,
which is a lot.
Other things in life pulled me out of it. Yeah. And then I love Black Widow so much. A movie about women all around the world fighting to take control of their body from the men that are controlling them. I like that theme. I like it a lot. But other people really bum me out with the way they just engage with films. So I just pulled away from all that. This one, I'm in, baby. I'm in.
Cool. Well, I will get to talk to Ken more about this off air. That way he doesn't get sniped by one of David Zaslav's.
Well, you got to be. I was a +1. When you're a +1, you got to be extra careful.
That's true.
Even said too much.
It's somebody else's invite.
Mark Ellis and I had a very nice date last night. But Will McLean said, no review. What concessions do you get? Popcorn, drink, candy.
Yes.
Well, so we got a free popcorn and drink. So I did get Barks no sugar vanilla root beer. Woo! And popcorn. I don't like movie popcorn. I'm not a huge fan of movie popcorn, but I had it. Yeah. And then Mark and I each got 1 hot dog each. I would have, in retrospect, got 2 hot dogs and maybe not had the popcorn.
Interesting. I am with you on movie popcorn. I like popcorn fine. If there's a bowl of popcorn, I will have some. But it's not what I'm going to spend my money on at the counter. Sorry, Tom.
It's distracting. It can go wrong. And that bag last night went wrong. It was dry, and I didn't realize it. Needed salt and butter. I don't do it normally. And whereas the hot dog didn't disappoint, man.
I am a Swedish fish guy at the movies, first and foremost, if it is available. I also like cookie dough bites. My favorite candy is Reese's peanut butter cups, but movie theaters never have the cups.
I mean, despite you calling it Reese's, that's my favorite candy. So,
okay. Well, have we talked about the Reese's
It's
thing?
Reese's Pieces, Reese's cups. What's
it's
wrong with
Reese's? It's Reese's Pieces because Reese's and pieces rhyme. But if it's not the pieces, it's Reese's. That's how I feel.
That's
I shift.
Patently incorrect.
Patently
incorrect.
Patently a hard word to say. Patently incorrect.
And I know no words. I'm going to get Jared the Dark Jedi and see what side he falls on. That will be the deciding factor.
He's with you. He says Reese's. Yeah, but like, what is his vote worth? He's not even from the good part of Pennsylvania.
That's true. I had Junior Mints when I saw Quarter Life Crisis. Junior Mints, my other favorite candy.
Junior Mints. I think Alex Backus from Black Series is a Junior Mints fanatic.
Heard of him.
I drinks wise, to be honest, man, I don't even really get a drink during the movies because the feeling of having to pee during a film when I'm trying to pay attention makes me want to die.
I'm with you. But I have this little like Pavlovian dog response to theater and needing a large beverage. And then like the other night I got a Diet Pepsi because I just like it for the taste. And they gave me a Pepsi. I'm not a complainer. I don't return items if I buy it wrong or I don't like the fit of the jeans. I keep the jeans. It's my mistake. Sure. It's not your problem. I did not, and that regular Pepsi killed me. I had my teeth hurt. I was up all night, but I finished it all.
It made your teeth hurt, really?
Hey, I'm old. I got bad teeth, man. You know, come on.
Interesting.
So, anyways, I did not have that problem with the Diet Barks, no sugar, vanilla cream, root beer last night.
I'm also self-conscious about snack noise. Like, if you're a nachos person, what are you doing? Stop
the fuck you doing with nachos in a thing? They should outlaw
noisy snack.
They should fucking outlaw that.
Hot dog, soft. Hot dog, soft.
But I eat everything before the movie starts, and there are no trailers for the press screening, so I had to kind of chunk it down. I think, but when I was in the Rogue One press screening, I was the plus one of, shall we say, a rather successful YouTuber based in the Pacific Northwest who for a year lived down here, and I was very happy to go with him. We had a great time. The movie starts, and that movie, you got Galen Erso and Krennic, and it's kind of a low volume scene, right? He immediately starts like reaching in his pocket and pulls out like a bar and just starts opening it real loudly, like a Quest bar or something like that. I was just like, what are you doing?
It would have killed me. It would have killed me. Do you know what I'm glad they don't sell at theaters, at least in my experience? Do you know what the loudest bag is? And I'm gonna say it, and everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my god, he's right." The loudest bag ever made by man is a Sun Chips bag. I don't know what it is about Sun Chips bag. Whatever that plastic like compound is, whatever it is not like Lay's, Doritos. Like it's not like a Sun Chips bag is loud enough that like it would give away your location like in the jungle. Like it is ridiculous.
The bag needs more Monsanto chemicals in it or something that muffles sound because it's I believe you. I believe you.
It's crazy. It's crazy. What I normally do is I have a candy before the trailers when I'm sitting, and then I have a candy. I try to I'm like, what act of the screenplay do I think we're in? And then that's when I open up. When I get to act 2, I open up my second snack.
I mean, it's small person, but I inherited from my dad. We're fast eaters. Before the trailers end, I'll have all my food done. Just have to.
This right here, this is elite behavior. Ken Plume. Ken Plume says, I'll hold popcorn unchewed in my mouth.
What I'll do is I will suck on that popcorn. I will suck on it, baby, until it slowly melts in my mouth if I got caught in a scene that's too loud. Plume's right.
Now, when the lightsabers come out or Iron Man is pew-pewing or John Wick's killing a guy, that's when you can have your crunchy stuff.
Yeah.
But I swear, man,
this is why I don't go to movie theaters on weekends or with people.
Yeah, I mean, don't even. Yeah, we could do a whole episode on movie theater, just the etiquette. I mean, these are champagne problems in comparison to some of the behaviors that you see, especially here in Central Florida. There are people here that should be sent to The Hague for the way that they behave.
Well, then you got people bringing live chickens to Minecraft. Yeah, where are we at? Where are we at as a people?
Jesus Lord!
Can Superman save us from that?
What is Mamdani's plan for what is happening in theaters?
I think this is a great transition. But also,
thank you.
We should ask him. We should ask him.
We should ask him. Try to book him on this show. He might actually. I actually will try because he seems so down. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
So something good happened this week.
Yeah,
something good happened, which was in a lot of ways the takeaway. Monday evening, and then Tuesday everything goes down officially. Monday evening around almost 11 o'clock Eastern, I believe it was. Texts start flying. I've been watching this like everybody had for the last however many weeks. I got up that day, put up a Gandalf meme, because it's like trying to be funny, but like really truly just like the pain that I was gonna feel if this guy lost. I fell for it again, Ken. I got invested in a politician, which like you should never do. And like I'm gonna throw that caveat out there too. Nobody needs to be in the comments telling me not to stand politics. I know. I got it. I know. This is about the movement. This is about the moment.
Baby. Believe, baby.
And I was like, oh, I believe again. I'm gonna get hurt again. This is gonna be the same thing. Here it comes. And at that last round of polling that like lit everyone up, that was like he could probably squeak this out. And I think it was like the 5th round or something like that. Not only did he win, he handedly beat that ass in round 1 and had like an 8% lead and held. And I think Cuomo only beats him in like the upper west side, upper east side, basically where the money is. He beats him in the two money zones. And it was overwhelming. It was a moment. It was a moment that immediately required the entire project and ecosystem of the Democratic Party to have to stop and say something just happened here, almost in a way that's different than there have been moments like we go to AOC's for the most comparable when she got her spot in the House, and it's like that was huge. But something about this, given where we are now in Trump 2, given Kamala Harris's loss, given the outright fascism, given the Islamophobia, given everything that's happening overseas, given the fact that it's New York, given Cuomo's power, given the fact that more PAC money was put into Cuomo than has ever been put into a campaign in New York City history, like $25 million. He had Bloomberg backing him. He had all of the DoorDash corporate losers backing him. He had Bill Clinton comes in at the last minute to try to push the classic sort of Dem establishment into him. Like they had ex-Obama staffers came out. When the ex-Obama staffers remember that they have smartphones, that's when because like they really want to stop someone. That's their favorite thing to do, is to sit around and then be like, oh crap, like we gotta, oh no. So it's like it really felt like when the Clinton thing happened, I was like, oh my God, Jesus Lord. Like that's what sent me into the peak of stress.
More the same.
And then he won. We're all texting each other. Congratulations to everybody that had a funny meme. You all did so well. There were so many incredible memes. And it was just I woke up the next morning like with Mr. Blue Sky playing in my head. I woke up
it's serious when ELO is playing.
I was like, I legit I levitated over to my coffee maker. It was like I felt real, genuine hope for the first time, and it was almost like a Jim Carrey Grinch thing where he's just like like you can't process that his heart is growing. Right. It was so strange, so foreign at this point to see something work out. And we'll talk about the fallout. Like we have also had one of the most racist weeks in recent American history because of this. But yeah, take me to that night 3 hours behind us on the better coast, as you insist that it is. And it probably is. How were things over there when this was happening?
Yeah, we don't have to worry about the mag flies are out again. Those 3-inch things that fly around and drive your car. We don't have any of that stuff. I'll take you through it. I wasn't following, meaning I had just, I guess, resigned myself to the system was going to continue to churn on, probably because of what you're talking about, the money, Clinton. He didn't play the saxophone, so I knew it wasn't that serious. But
it wasn't vintage Bill. His powers has fallen.
I'll take it like a sports. I'll go with the sports analogy. Often during a season or every couple seasons, a team, name the sport, doesn't matter, but a team comes from nowhere, puts it together, has a massive amount of momentum. They're built up of no superstars, no one with a contract $10 million. In fact, no one $2 million or higher. They got that dude who you thought was retired, but now he's winning 10 games. And then they ride the wave, and then suddenly they get deep into the postseason or the playoffs, and the better Empire-like team, and I'm a Yankee fan, so take all your Yankee shots at me. But in 1996, the Yankees were that team, but they won. And then they lose. And you're reminded again that the system holds. The system holds. So that's why I wasn't as engaged with it. I really wasn't.
But sometimes you get your 03 Marlins.
Yes, absolutely. Who defeated the Yankees. Yes. Yes.
Come on. Who's proud of me?
That's a good reference.
Who's proud of me?
It's a good team. Jeff Conine. But you know what I mean? So like I saw this momentum. I saw this guy. I you're my litmus test of who's moving your needle. Again, we're moving needles today. But I was just like, and it's a primary, which I don't mean to, we're not over the finish line. We haven't scored the touchdown. But it's just like, if he makes the Super Bowl, I'll watch the game.
Yeah.
And he's there. He reached the championship game. And that's when you start. And I think I'm probably indicative of a lot of folks, good or bad, just like, oh, now you're going to lean forward. Now we're going to see. And now I think there is real movement. He still might lose. Kat Abu-Ghazaleh still might lose, still might not win her seat. But you cannot deny that something has happened. And that's where I'm at right now.
And for both of us, obviously, we've referenced this. We have someone who lives in Florida, someone who lives in California. So there was a lot of snark of like, why do you care? You're not there. First of all, the first level of that is it should be pretty basic to have empathy and care for places that you are not in. I would love good things for all cities. Shocking.
Yeah, you know who says that a lot? You know who says that a lot? Superman.
I thought you were going to say Jesus.
Jesus too.
What does Jesus think about Mamdani?
I think he'd vote for him.
Yeah, and I also think that Jesus would buy an IMAX ticket for Superman.
Yeah, I think Jesus would be like, baby carriages for all newborns. I'm in.
Yeah, that works for me, pal. Jesus would be like, the bus should be free.
Yeah,
I'm not. Yeah, he could probably walk across the river though and not need to take it.
Sure,
so I've been told.
But, yeah.
Lots of things that they have in common, although some directors think it's a little bit too much in common than others, even though Superman is Moses, y'all. I've gone on this rant before. He's Moses. He's not Jesus. But anyway, we get to, he was literally set in a basket across the sea of the stars. Anyway, so we get into this this moment here of the second point too, which is basic empathy for other places. But point two of why do you care if you're not there? Because New York, given its size, given its place economically, given what it is just in terms of business and trade, given what it is in terms of the melting pot, all these levels, this happening there is important. This happening there with a Muslim man is important. And this happening there in the face of all the wealth and as Dorina pointed out here, that people were calling it the pervert megazord. Yeah, like all these guys that have been accused of things, with all this backing, with AIPAC desperately trying to stop him, with everybody asking him about Tel Aviv and everyone asking about Israel. Even people I like, even Colbert lobbed the Israel question at him and Lander. Now, was that his choice? I don't know. I'm not here to litigate how CBS runs the Late Show. But
there's also, to be fair, I was listening to Sam Cedar and a lot of that side saying that actually Mamdani might have asked him to do that, to get it out there.
That's true too. Level. Yeah, could be. Hey, he obviously knows what he's doing. Lander as well, and we'll put a pin in that because I do want to give Lander a lot of love for his role in this. But it's like, this is important because it signifies what is possible, and it's not that the Mamdani campaign can be copied and pasted into cities across the country. It's the fact that there's probably a Mamdani in these places for those places, and that this approach works. The thing that it is, and I'm going to try really hard to not be super smug about this, is like, this is utter, complete vindication in the wake of the disastrous, and this is not just the Kamala campaign, it's campaigns all over the world of let's go to the right to win people. We have to go to the right to win people. No, you don't. At least not here. You didn't. Like, this is a case study in leaning all one way and in openly criticizing the genocide in Gaza, in openly protecting trans rights, in openly fighting for maternal rights and for childcare, talking about healthcare, talking about not defunding the police, as was the boogeyman phrasing, but using some of their budget to create a new department of community services that would mean that cops don't need to go. Like, if there's a unhoused person that seems a little unhinged, we don't need to send cops with guns to handle that. We will send the newly created department. Like, all these things that seem like common sense, that are extremely popular, but have been demonized and turned into the boogeyman and turned into communism and turned into jihadists and turned like everything that, you know, Fox News wants your parents to believe. It's like we end up down this road where finally in 2025, this guy who's not that much older than even me and my friends, we could have been in high school at the same time, you know, like, it's like this guy showed you don't need to compromise at all. And what really freaks them all out, outside of the fact that he's brown and a Muslim, is that he did it without, like, they can't pin rage on him. They can't pin any sort of unhingedness on him. Like, he is a charming, mild-mannered, nice smile, young guy with a nice haircut, a beautiful wife, takes the subway. His mom is a filmmaker. His mom directed Mississippi Masala with Denzel Washington. So she's made some real movies. And it's like, he's just this dude, and they hate that. And, you know, it's sort of like the tan suit thing again. Like, we arrive back at, like, they're like, how do we attack this guy? And because, you know, he's brown and Muslim, they have clearly chosen an attack path. But it's completely validating for the idea that you can run an outright democratic, socialist, progressive campaign, period, and win. And that if you know, if it doesn't get shot at the knees by people on his same team, like Bill Clinton, then it can thrive. And I'm glad we've also shown that it is a rejection of a lot of the olds, which is not hate to all the olds, but it's like now it's a test for them. You know, now it's are you gonna fall in line and support this guy, or are you guys going to you know,
truly help
F around and find out? And it did seem, you know, that old Chuck was like, oh, we're gonna speak soon, we're gonna talk, we're gonna, you know.
I'm gonna write him a very nice worded letter and invite him to my office.
It showed that it's possible. It showed that it was possible, and it created like a reckoning immediately of like, are we gonna keep BSing and like bending the knee and like kissing Trump's ring, or are we gonna run campaigns like this? It's like when the Hillary campaign loses and the Kamala campaign loses and the Biden administration ended with like such disdain from so much of my generation, from so many minority groups. But then this comes around, and you have the combination of, you know, your AOCs and your Bernies and your Beto O'Rourke's and like and Lander and everybody that backs this, and it has such a resounding love around it. Like 08, I said on Blue Sky 2008 Jeff Hardy levels of over, but to translate that into normie, it is 2008 Obama. Like, it is like, like there are teachers out there that are like, I haven't seen anything like this with students since Barack in 2008, and like you have to ride that, and I hope that they do.
Again, you gotta get over the finish line. There's a lot of obstacles, a lot of what you're talking about. First of all, well said, sir, on everything you said there. And that's one of the worries, is why you were trepidatious up top to continue to provide provide yourself hope in the situation.
Yes.
Still got to go over the finish line and take all that to office. But for me, for my money, what you're talking about is a continuing the change in the guard, and then there's a lot of the playbook. You know, again, what's AOC? She's just a bartender. As if she didn't go to school, she didn't study other things. But also, yeah, imagine that. What if she's just a bartender who liked to dance and wanted to take, an interest in the world? Like that's a selling point. But it's used against her. But what I was really, really excited to see, what I think I mentioned it last week or so. One of the run for office websites out there. It's trying to recruit younger folks. One of them, yeah. Saw a mass increase in people inquiring on how to run for office after he won this primary. That is what's even more exciting for me, just in terms of, can you break the wheel? This is how. And the next generation is going to take over, and then the next generation is going to take over after that. But one of the problems now, and it's always been, but I think it's even more now with the Schumers and the Pelosi's, but also out there in a lot of industries. Article about the CEOs of Hollywood, and for what we like or dislike about them doesn't matter, but the fact that there's no upward movement for the current the younger generations, Gen X on down. These fuckers aren't retiring. We're all healthier maybe, but also they're not letting go of their power. And I think that's very much a play in politics, and that could be exactly what I hear you expressing at your age is correct. It's the correct point of view of a little bit of what's the point. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if he had lost, I think it would have been like, see, not that you're like, hey, your points of how to run aren't wrong, but just your energy would have been like, no matter what we do, it can't change. That's frustrating, but it is changing. And when I watched him today, Mamdani had a hey, we don't need any more money clip on Reels. The dude is of his generation. Just like Kat Abou-Ghazaleh is of her generation, speaking in a streamer's mic from a gaming chair. Speaking so well. And he knows how to. It's not like, let's give Joe Biden a TikTok and have him eat ice cream on it. You don't need to have him speak like the generation. He is.
I just had a war flashback to the ice cream. I had repressed it. Yeah, man, you're right. And we said we give Lander a shout out. Dorina says here, Brad Lander and Zoran are peak Jewish Muslim solidarity, completely destroying establishment propaganda BS, and it's beautiful. Yeah, Lander, of course, his role here, the cross endorsement that do I have math to tell you how much it changed this or how much it influenced? Not off the top of my head, but it was a monumental move. One, the time and the tone and their two faiths and cultures. Like, this is a time when they are trying to smear Mamdani as an anti-Semite, and they're trying to say that he's pro-Hamas, and they're trying to say that like everything they do with everybody, you blink wrong, you're pro-Hamas.
Throughout time. Like, that's don't forget, JFK as a Catholic was like, what are we going to do with this nation? A Catholic at the top? Oh no! Yeah,
crazy. And now here we are, and Lander being a Jewish man who also in the week before had just been detained for doing his job as comptroller of walking people out of a hearing. It's like that's it. We all have to leave this building, right? And they attacked him and arrested him. He maintained this composure, and the cross endorsement was just such a beautiful moment in their solidarity of dispelling these myths, and of also like, it's so funny because it's both beautiful and extremely like petty in a positive way. Like the beauty of it to dispel this notion that like they can't have peace, and that they can't have mutual love, and that the cultures can't come together, and all these things that is so desperately needed right now, as so many American Jews are facing this falsehood that being Jewish equals being pro Zionism or pro Netanyahu, or even like that the ADL can say that Jewish Voice for Peace is part of the problem. Like that's what their experience is right now. So Lander, I think, comes out as like a beacon amidst that, and puts over someone younger that's not of his culture, but in the name of the right things, is so key. And I know they'll work together well. And honestly, Lander should primary Schumer, but we'll, you know, and that's been a thing that's been talked about too as of late. And nobody in that geriatric class of just losers should feel comfortable and safe right now, because that's the other thing that Zoran shows people, is that none of you are safe. If Cuomo and all the money in the world can get beat by boots on the ground just being good, then you can all be beat. But then the other side of it is, and I said this the night that they won, and I really do mean it, even though it sounds like I'm joking, more unity in the spirit of fuck that guy in particular. Like, that was there, even on Colbert, even on CBS, they were like, we want to send that creep back to the suburbs. Like, like, people respond to that. If you can shake hands in the spirit of we're trying to stop one person, this is a sports nation. This is a gladiatorial nation. This is I will screw them before they screw me. We have to beat them. Americans like to beat people. And this was the first time in a long time that I've seen them not only show what they had to offer, show how they supported what the other had to offer, but also Mamdani and Lander, and Mamdani all the way to the end, with a clear messaging of that guy sucks and must be stopped. The Republicans are very good at that. The Republicans are very good at that. The Democrats have not done a good job with that at all. I mean, in 2016, I think it was the second or third Trump-Hillary debate, is the day after the grab him by the pussy audio comes out. She doesn't even mention it. She didn't even mention it. She did her little shimmy. She did the shimmy that they took on for Kate McKinnon's Hillary. Like, it's like the shimmy comes in and it's just like, what are we doing? You should be trying to destroy him. And finally here, they went for blood on Andrew Cuomo. And you have to. You have to.
Yeah, because I think that's this age we're in where, from my perspective, I even struggle to connect with it, because on a microphone, I'm always playing a character. It's me, but it's a character. And what you're seeing in the candidates that you're talking about, they are just, we're not playing politician running for office. We're just here to speak the truth. And I think the more you get that direct messaging out, that to me is a little bit of what was the Trump magic in 2016 and now, right? Where he says things that everyone of his team is like, finally, it's batshit crazy stuff or evil or racist, but like he's got that down, and that's what that's what they still gravitate to. He's speaking for me. He's speaking this what they feel is the truth. But I'm hearing these candidates, including Abby Ghazali is I watch her stuff every day. And going on these shows and just going, oh yeah, no, I think I think immigrants should get health care. Yeah, but no. Or the other day, I flipped off that bigot, and I'm not apologizing for it. Great video.
And I do it again.
I'll do it again. That is going to connect. I'm not saying it's because I'm not talking about switching sides, but that's going to connect with the your generation and others, and it's not just your generation, but others who are like, it's too easy to write off that Bill Clinton's going to come out and say, this is my guy, and then the money's going to win, and both sides like that they're starting to see it. You know, again, Fox News putting out clips that's going around, this evil socialist. This is what he wants. 3 bus rides, $30 an hour on 2030. I think it's important to see that directly stated. Just like, you know, because socialism is such a, you know, it's ingrained to us. It's a bad word. It's Truman, the Truman Doctrine. We're going to go out and bring democracy into the world and destroy communism and socialism. You know, my grandparents come over, like they have a view of communism, socialism that I think is true to their story, but it's more about Stalin and Lenin and people in power abusing systems to make them grow. But when I read a description on who Eugene Debs actually was in terms of what he believed in, when I was reading a book on the 1912 election, it's like, oh, I've never seen it this plain. Check. I agree with everything that this man said in 1912. But I wasn't taught to even allow that to be an option. What you're seeing now is these young folks, and I sound so old when I say that, these youngins from their streaming chairs are just saying the truths. And that's valuable.
Yeah. And not apologizing for it, not worrying about how it plays, not worrying about whether it can hit the quadrants. I mean, this is a thing that is I'm not saying it's like exclusive to our generation, but I think as we've gone from the boomers to their children, you delightful folks, to your children, the upper end of us, and then now me at that border of where it turns into Z, and then now Alpha. Shout out to Alpha's children who are going to be Gen Beta, which is just ripe for jokes. Unfortunately, that sucks. Yeah. That sucks for y'all. But it's like there's been a gradual progression of nobody. It's not that nobody wants, but we are now responding to things that don't hit all the quadrants, as they say, like in the movie business, right? Like,
right.
Like you don't need to worry about how something plays if it's right, or if you believe it's right, because people respond to conviction. Like there are people that like maybe would clutch their pearls that Abu Ghazaleh flipped somebody off. Like that's not.
That's not those
decorum. People. That's not ladylike. That's not kind. Whatever it is. Even people that agree with her will be like, we don't need to be saying that to each other. We don't need to. But she doesn't need to really like make sure you feel good because she's got you on the issues. What she needs is to galvanize the people that want to see fight and that want to see something that doesn't fit perfectly. Like even with art, like, you know, we can't say too much about the fact that Ken saw Superman, but like the vibe of it, like maybe not being a Superman movie, like he's never in his art made things for everyone. He's made things that he likes that so happen to land with people. It's kind of like what Lynch said about Star Wars versus like his work. That he's like, we both make exactly what we want to make. It's just that millions of people like what George is doing. Like people respond to that. You can tell when the thing that you're making can only be made by who is making it, right? You can tell that it's the campaign that only Mamdani would have done this way. And so it's like, I hope that that's the lesson is in art, in music, in whatever it is, all the way up to these campaigns. It's like, even like I was reading about the logo design and how they didn't want to use, you know, Democrat blue. They wanted something that was more personal and that evoked Bollywood cinema and that, you know, felt sort of handmade with like the stencil and like that it's Zoran for New York. And like someone took his, AOC's, Ilhan Omar's, and a couple other ones that have been successful over the past 5-6 years. And it was like, note that these are all first names or nicknames like AOC. Like that became the common parlance so quickly to just call her by the letters, and it becomes iconic in a way versus things where it's like so clearly, the last name, because we're supposed to know that this is a powerful family, it is a powerful thing. Like there's all these little things that you can fine tune that mean you don't need to try to please. You can flip some people off. You're not going to lose anyone that actually agrees with you by doing that. But you might show people that didn't know you, oh, that small woman from the YouTubes is really angry. I got to check that out. Like she's pissed off like I'm pissed off.
What you said up top, this is a long format show, and it's so long that we can't, you know, clip out the show because I just don't know how to clip out long shows. This is why my career sucks. But
we're looking for an editor that you won't be paid.
Yeah. But you said it up top. Your point could have started and could have stopped their conviction. That's the Trump thing for me, right? The conviction behind he and his team's words resonates to the people that want to hear that. That's what's been so dangerous about it. And that's also the, you know, and maybe I think we're so aware of that outside of that bubble, right? We're so aware of it that maybe we don't want to do that. But I think what we're seeing is you can do it in a way that is powerful and our own kind of conviction that is reaching the people. That's what I think, you know, her, again, going to the video of her flipping off and then going, yep, absolutely. Beautiful. Beautiful. Because I could have seen, because Trump could have said that in 2016. I'm not comparing the two, but you know what I mean? I'm just on your conviction angle. And I think that's part of what's different to me now with this movement going forward. And what I started this whole thing about saying when I talk about I play a character on a microphone, so that doesn't translate because I can't grab my little microphone and just like do a vlog. I'm always playing a character that reads nowadays as insincere to people. I don't think it is from my point of view, but it is. It reads like it. So people are less likely to connect with me.
Definitely does.
Just, you know,
like I'm not gonna obviously name names or anything, but it's like there are approaches that absolutely work for me every time that it just sings. But there are certain things that within the first 20 seconds, I know I don't want anything to do with that channel. They could be kind, they could be lovely people. It has nothing to do with like the content, but it has to do with like, oh, this feels so deeply artificial. This feels so manufactured. You know, that's a line that actually sticks out with me from that era of SNL with McKinnon and all them, where when she was playing Hillary, and she said, "I hope you enjoy the Hillary Clinton that my team and I have created for you this evening." It's like that's how it felt.
That's how it felt. Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that like she's just as bad as Donald Trump. It doesn't mean that, but it's just like it is.
No, we would have been
so obvious. And I think that Mamdani's win and getting the nomination shows that like we're ready for it. You can stop worrying. You can stop like the DNC and the DNC. Like I mean, you could do a whole 3 hours on that, but like after they just like screwed over David Hogg, after everything that they've done as of late to try to just not have like they haven't like Bernie and AOC have been on tour, but it's not like that's the Democrat position. Like Schumer and Hakeem, they didn't even say anything about Iran. They had nothing to say. Because they support it. Like we're dealing with one war machine that just like it's just like half the war machine likes gay people to a certain degree. So it's like we're finally, I think, at a moment where an outright socialist candidate winning in New York, a 33-year-old Muslim socialist going to be the mayor of New York, is cataclysmic. It's huge. And of course, it's unearthed, like I said, maybe one of the most racist weeks I've seen in a long time just like the entire right. Just, I mean, it's not Masks Off doesn't even begin to describe it anymore. It's just like, because they haven't been on for a while. Yeah, they fully love and believe this. You've got what's his name? I took a screenshot of it because I wanted to make sure I had his name right. In Tennessee, I believe is Ogles.
Oh yeah, I saw the headline. Yep.
Yeah, that he's out there, appealing to Bondi to try to get an investigation going or like proceedings of looking at Zoran's citizenship and accusing him of being a lying terrorist sympathizer, and he's in government. But that's aside from the entire people that do what we do on a mic, saying the most disgusting things about him. People out there talking, connecting it to 9/11. Like, I thought we said never again, and now look at what New York is going through. Like, it's disgusting, and it is outright
freedom fries.
Complete racism. Like the platform of the Republican Party right now is inherently racist, and it's just I mean, to see them angry, to see them angry is like good because they're rattled, but also I wish for safety, obviously, for Mamdani and his family. I wish for to keep the rock and roll going all the way to the fall. I don't want it to be a summer of him having to look over his shoulder, not to be dark. But
I mean, funny. I was scrolling. This is one of those years I was scrolling, getting ready to work out this morning, and it's a clip of Steve Bannon talking to Marjorie Taylor Greene, explaining how Mamdani won, and Bannon's like 100% correct. I was like, holy crap, we're at this point where it's just like about what he's speaking to, the money, survive, how we putting groceries on the table. And that means they're rattled, right? That means they're rattled. He's on to something. The kid's on to something. And that's the thing is, again, watching the clip, I just saw his social this morning. It's not Biden with ice cream. It's not Schumer going, I'm on the TikTok. And it's great. It's someone who this is him and this is who he is. He's real, the conviction, and he's speaking to the table. Speaking to every family's table or every person's table.
Yeah. To connect the two topics, the two big topics, in a way that is more allows you to speak more freely. What does it mean for you as somebody whose family also comes from immigrants that came from like I mean, you don't speak about it a lot just because it doesn't come up organically, but like, you know, what your grandfather went through and like real horrific situations, you know, to come here to the States, that we have this iconic fictional immigrant hero back on the screens, and then now a young immigrant with a historic victory. Like, what are these stories? You know, how do they hit you right now at a time when this is being demonized the most, definitely in my lifetime?
Yeah, which is part of the wheel just keeps on turning, right? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hopeful that people hear it. You know, when it comes to media literacy, obviously we know there's a struggle in picking up on themes and all that kind of stuff. So I think there's some things in that picture that are pretty direct. We'll see if it connects. The frustrating thing about my own family story is there's some in my family who, you know, came over and were waiting, begging for the country to take them in. Almost did. I was talking to my cousin recently. I almost was Canadian. I didn't even really know that. That was actually going to be the only place to take them in.
Oh, wow.
And then we end up in the family ends up in Iowa with the church sponsoring them. That's the only reason we got in. And so they get in, and in the 50s, you know, 50s America tries to beat my Muslim brown grandfather from the Soviet Union out of this country, but he stays. But then that's forgotten. It's that thing of once you're on the team, you don't want anyone else on the team, and so I just hope some of this stuff sticks. That's why we have to keep fighting past the headlines and just speak plainly on what. Okay, he's a socialist. That is a dirty word to a lot of folks, which I understand. When I hear not just the stories in history books, but when I would hear my grandmother and grandfather talk about it, I understand why that's a bad word to a lot of folks. And then it's drilled in the 50s and 60s and beyond, right? But if you go back to not just Debs, but who's the Democratic, was in Wisconsin, Democratic, socialist governor in the early part of the 19th century. My history's escaped me. It was less of a dirty word. It was just a different mindset. Yeah. Then it becomes something else at some point. That's why I hope we can push through all that. Maybe you're looking for a hopeful answer, but in those two things, I hope we can see what it past the labels and see what this stuff actually is, what it means to come to this country, what it means to be a son of an immigrant like I am, and what it means to, if you identify with a socialist platform or even parts of it, like what does that actually mean? It might actually mean good things if you stopped and listened and read.
Yeah. See, I knew stuff about your grandpa's story, but I didn't realize that he was Muslim. That adds even more to the
it got watered down later on. He probably was all things, but you know, Hamid Dimitri Nepzik, Muslim from Turkey technically, but the Soviet Union, and then Circassian, the White Hills of Russia. Like, yeah, grandmother from Kiev. Yeah. America did not want them, but they got here.
And that's important. Like, yeah, I wasn't necessarily looking for like a shining beacon of like hope core speechifying, but that's a great answer in that you just hope that they see it, right? Like you just hope that they see in how the American experience is kind of within and without, and like how what Mamdani represents is like the best of the American experience, but it's also like he came here and like they were looking for better. And so it's like I think the American dream sometimes gets intentionally divorced from the human dream of like, right. You should, you know, like that. And again, that ties back to why would you care about the New York election if you're not there? Well, I care about the New York election the same way that I care about elections in other places, other countries, other parts of the world. Like it was a thing.
It's New York, man.
Yeah. Like
it's one of the biggest cities in the world.
Talk about Superman. It was a whole thing in 2010 when Superman renounced his American citizenship in the comics.
Yes,
because it was just like Fox News was covering that because of course they were, but like of
course they were.
He just so happens to have landed in Kansas, but he's for the planet, like he's for all of us. Like and I think that that's a mentality like that's been so demonized by the right, because if you dare think about the well-being of somebody overseas, you're a globalist. You're you're not concerned with the safety of America. And it's nuts. That's so broken, I think. And I'm glad that it's hopefully by the time I'm in my 60s, 70s, if I make it that long, we've moved away from it. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's like, I hope that these are the last gasps of American exceptionalism and isolationist mentalities. A lot of people are going to have to die for that to happen. I'm just not, that's not, by the way, I know, I realize how bad that sounded just now. It's not a call for violence.
Not a war,
I mean,
not a
generational die out.
Generational change. Yes. I got you.
I want them to have long lives. They should, I want them to be like Charlie Bucket's grandparents, feet to feet, just laying around.
It's all to me. I say it maybe far too much, but it's like that, what I call the real history of things, when you can actually engage with it. I was just rewatching, because this is what I do in my spare time. I was just rewatching the Apple TV doc, which is based on a book called Lincoln's Dilemma. I highly recommend it. 4-part series for folks out there. And its goal is to say, who is Abraham Lincoln and what did he actually do, believe? What was the journey he went on? Because he went on one. Is he truly the great emancipator, or is he, like some people say, the devil? The truth is somewhere in between, right? But once you learn about the real history, it untangles a lot of what you're talking about. You know, that this myth of, you know, he and Frederick Douglass became best of friends. They were around each other 3 times. Exchanged some letters, and Douglas was mostly dubious, but was supportive in the end, and did change him. Lincoln goes through big changes, and has conviction in the things that he ends up doing. But it's just, I think it's valuable, because then it tears down the other labels that you're talking about: socialist, immigrant, globalist, all those things, right? Like all those things that have kind of been put in place and are part of the system that we all butt up against in various ways. I think that's what's going on. And when I see these type of candidates that we're talking about, just moving past labels to speak with the truth, with conviction, I think that's different than what it's been in the past.
Yeah, I agree. And it's an education thing too. That's also part of why it's going to take so long. Like, we've all had this conversation, especially me having grown up mostly in South Florida, and like all the, you know, the Latino community, and like how difficult it can be, especially with like Florida Cubans are so cooked. Like, they are so cooked. They drink the Kool-Aid so hard because of their experiences and because of their family history. They refuse to acknowledge the definitions of words, you know, like it's so much fear and so much hate. And like one of my best friends, Gabe, is an immigrant to this country, came to America at 10 years old, not speaking a lick of English, Venezuelan. And like, people in his family, uncles that are like older than me, but younger than you, have like gone to the right and everything. And he's just like, it's mind blowing to see how effective some of this shit is when it comes to the socialist conversation. But it's like, you have to start small. Like, I've had these conversations with people before. Like, have you ever ridden a bus? Have you ever sent mail? You have a social security number, don't you? You know, your child goes to public school, have a library card. These are all socialist programs. They always have been. You know, like, you have to start at that level, even as frustrating as it is. And then expand that conversation out into, you agree that everybody should have those things, right? Well, imagine, if you will, that they also could be healthy.
Yeah. It's frustrating. And it's frustrating, especially with the big picture conversation we're having today. But I think it's important to maybe, as best you can, remove that frustration and talk to people. And it's so valuable. And I know, I don't even think you and I disagree. I just from my background and where I go and where I've been, like, I'm going to sit and talk with my folks more than other people would right now, right? But that stuff you're talking about is tremendously valuable to them. They don't always say. I told you last week I was visiting my folks, and I had, for the first time ever, what I would call productive conversations with my mom over some issues that did not change her. In fact, in the end, she recoiled and just said, I just don't want to get involved in any of this, which is sad. But it was different than the stuff we've had in the past. So the frustration is real. It's like you and I talking Star Wars. You know, I told you, there's one bar here in LA I will never step into again. The fucking owner is going to get my fist in his face if he sees me next time. But it was all about Star Wars. Dumb, stupid mustache wearing face. I'm gonna punch it.
He told Ken that Thrawn was the best character, and Ken leaped over that bar. No, I'm kidding. That's not what happened. but it's frustrating. But it's just like, you got to, you know, for what you're talking about, the bigger stakes.
is to push past it as best we can and actually have those conversations. And Mamdani's doing that. Abu Ghazali's doing it. AOC did it. And others will emerge. And there's others, Jasmine Crockett, what's her name, Mallory up in the Michigan area, like Walls. I still think Walls at some point does that stuff very well.
Yeah, Walls without the leash for sure. I mean that was the last time we felt hope, and that was honestly part of why this time I was like, "You're not gonna trick me into being happy again." Like I remember that day.
It's true, man. It was true, man.
You get afraid of being a young American at this point is a constant waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like that's the whole thing.
No, it's life. It's human. It's what we were talking about, life up top. It's that too, you know. Like I'm, you know, being outside of a relationship right now. Like I'm never doing this again. I'm not. It's a real statement from me. Whether that holds, we'll see. But it's kind of like what you're talking about. We're like, I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing this again. It's real. We all deal with that.
I said that too after.
It's the only thing is, I'll tell you what, it's different when it is slightly different when you're older, like I am, because I'm just like, I'm running out of time I'm not doing the meet the family again and take their first trip up. No, I'm not doing that.
It's that, and it's like, honestly, you just touched on something that I talked about the other day with one of my friends, where it was like, and for you, it's probably worse for that reason, but like the thing that gets in my head about like the prospect of starting anew with someone romantically is, and this is going to sound stupid, but you'll know what I mean, is that's like, I have to re-explain like why I like Return of the Jedi. I have to re-explain what my pizza preferences are. I have to re-explain, like, I have to, you know, be vulnerable about what certain albums mean to me. Like there's so much language that you have to like reestablish.
Yes. Okay. One of the greatest songs ever recorded is hard to track down. You and I talked about another one. God,
we talked about it in a very different context of
I'm talking about Everything's Fine by the Surfing Brides. Sid Straw. If anyone knows who Sid Straw is, this is a complete change of conversation at this point. God, I can't find the goddamn lyrics. She released an album in 1996 called War and Peace. Great singer-songwriter. She has a song called Love and the Lack of It. And she talks about, the narrator of the song talks about sitting on the edge of her bed and explaining her scars to another man and how she just doesn't want to do it again. And that's kind of what you're talking about and where I'm at too. I'm just like, nah, I'm not doing this again. I cannot find the lyrics. Like, God, it's so fucking frustrating. The music, you know, the rights to music, the streaming, the record. It's mostly record labels who cause this kind of problem.
Imagine like going on a date and then having to explain like, oh yeah, I did sketch and you know I do stand up and like this is my favorite color and you know I'm from this town. Like all the basics. It's like, good Lord, there needs to be like a dating app where you start in the middle. That's a concept.
And again, I don't need to go to the here, explaining her scars to another stupid man who will never understand is the line. It's a Sid Straw, Love and the Lack of It. One of the greatest all-time songs ever, man. But that's the only age difference is just like, maybe I'll find someone who's just like, hey, let's just skip past all this. Let's just go to the middle.
Yeah. Let's just have deep talks. Let's just talk about
anyways, bizarre way to and the valuable conversations about it. And no, I think here's the thing. My thing to you is, Alden, take the hope. Believe in the hope. Believe in the hope. This might be still a loss too, right? Again, we're talking about a primary. And I'm not highlighting that to be negative. I'm highlighting that to be like, there's still a ways to go. You know that, and you're aware of that.
He's got to beat this weirdo Republican candidate. I don't even remember his name. He's a weirdo. He's got a beret in his picture. He's like one of those guys. Look him up. Look him up before we go. Look him up. He's got a dumb little
What's
picture.
His name?
I don't even remember. Is the New York mayoral policy, the mayoral, there it is. So this guy's name is Eric Adams. Where the hell's the
Oh my God, I see it.
Oh, Curtis Sliwa.
Oh, it's Curtis Sliwa. Oh,
Sliwa. Sliwa.
You don't know who he is?
No, this picture was my first exposure to him.
Wait. You don't know the Guardian Angels? You don't know the Guardian Angels?
I do now as of the other day.
Oh my God. No, this dude's been I've grown up with this dude in my life. Oh my God. This is, I did not, yes. Yeah. I did not know.
Republican choice.
Someone, I saw his picture with the beret like earlier this week, and I was like, why is someone putting Curtis Silva up there? I did not know. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh God.
So there's him. There's Eric Adams as an independent. Hilarious. And then there's Andrew Cuomo, technically still as an independent, because Andrew Cuomo has that Fight and Deliver party.
Yes. That's amazing.
So
I'm dying laughing over here. Sorry.
So those are the characters that Zoran will have to defeat before he comes
I can't wait to see him. I want him to. Curtis Silva, like, because again, so the Guardian Angels, man, were that like we wanted them all in every city. The taking back the streets of New York. Oh my God. Oh, he was on every talk show. Phil Donahue and Geraldo Rivera. Like, oh my God, this guy's an icon of a generation. But now the truth has been unveiled. Oh my God, he's a weirdo. They're weirdos.
Are these like vigilante, like Rambo fetishist types that like?
They were the city. The city is full of crime, and New York had its problems. I like to make sure we speak some truths here. New York has some problems. So this was not unlike, again, Ghostbusters is Dan Aykroyd's libertarian fantasy. I think Ramis adds the heart to it, but it is like our street is being taken over by these monsters. The EPA is the enemy. The government wants to stop us. The feds want to stop us, so we take to the streets. That was the pitch of the Guardian Angels from the 70s and the 80s. So it sounds spectacular, but then, who's laying? You're the judge, jury, and executioner. Just going around beating people.
In a lot of ways, he makes perfect sense to be the Republican nominee right now.
Yes, but as a kid in the 80s, man, I'm sorry. This is how I did not connect the dots that it was him.
Yeah,
it was it was huge. We all knew about the Guardian Angels, and they're angels sent from heaven. Like it's just huge, and it was part of that 80s myth of we'll take to the streets. The government can't help us. We'll do it. And Reagan's at the top saying, yeah, no regulations, this and that, like small government. And some of that connects with people when you speak of, oh my God, hilarious.
Man. Good stuff. Well,
all right.
Zoran has to beat that weirdo. He has to beat Cuomo again. He has to beat independent Eric Adams. So we'll see what happens.
I'm going to be honest.
But I feel good about it.
I think he'll do it. I think he'll do it. I really think he'll do it. And that's why it's so important to discuss. So anyways, buddy, that's my word to you. I take care and hope forward. It's a bad day for some Supreme Court rulings, bad day for a lot of folks for a long time. We know that. Yeah. But that's part of what we're fighting, and we need these little mini victories. They're not just fluff. They're important. They're part of a turning tide. As Luthen Rail would say, we lose until we win.
Yeah. And anytime when Ken Alden's not here anymore, it's flown away.
They're gonna hang us
everywhere now.
It's gonna hang us. They're gonna hang us. All right, we're getting out of here. I got a live Force Center 2 o'clock, everybody.
Oh.
I got a 2-hour blathering. You should stop by the blathering tomorrow night if you're not working, or staring out the window with your hands behind your back, staring at your life.
I'll come on right after that.
There you go. Or just do it. Hold up the phone.
I'll be pondering on air.
Oops, sorry. Press the in card too soon. All right, we're out of here today. Thanks for everything. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for support. I'm Ken. That's Alden. Say goodnight, Alden.
Good night.
Bye.